What's happening, everybody? Steve here at Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com, coming back to you with another video. And one of the #1 top questions that we get all the time, and matter of fact, we got a question inside of the Book Flipper community group, and we actually had a question from Matt Simon. Shout out to Matt. Also, Rich K asking, what are the best ways to scale your book selling business? Now, this could also apply to an eBay business, to just a general Amazon business, but we're both big book sellers. Caleb is the founder creator of ScoutIQ, eFlip, also a very successful book selling business. So we're gonna really crack in and dive deep into how to scale your business, defining what it is, the various parts of scaling, hiring people, systems, efficiencies. So yeah, man, where would you like to start?
Well, let's jump in. We actually didn't do a lot of prepping on this. We figured we'd do this a little more organically, and we were just kind of actually arguing a little bit about the definition of scaling. What does scaling even mean? We like to throw this term out.
Everyone wants to scale.
I want to scale. Well, what is that? Like fish scales? Like you got a scale over there to weigh boxes?
I want to grow my business. What does that mean, growing?
Well, it's the American dream. I just want more.
Yeah.
I want more, dang it. Give me more.
I think we need to start with the definition
of
what does scale mean? And for me, I kind of said, and it wasn't very well thought out, but my first thing was like scale is like making more profit. That was like my own internal definition.
That's actually a really good definition, because most people would just say, I want to sell more. I want to be a 6-figure seller, a 7-figure seller, 8. Like you have these goals. I want to hit 50 grand in sales. Sales almost don't mean anything.
No.
It's cool. You can brag. They look good on paper. Sales mean nothing. The only thing that matters is cash in your bank account. So when you're doing that,
and time as well. Those are the two big things, because you could have more cash, but your life could be absolute hell.
Yeah, we could get all meta, but in my own business, and I talk to a lot of people about this as well, you can really optimize for one thing at a time. There's a great book if you want a book suggestion. We don't just flip books, we read them too. The One Thing by Gary Keller, and I think Jay Pop is on, real estate agent, but it applies so well. The One Thing, it's a white book with a black strip on it, if I'm remembering properly. But anyway, The One Thing, go read it, thank me later. Book. You can optimize for one thing. So if you say, hey, I want to scale my business and I want not just more sales, but more profit, breaking profits, I want more money in my bank account, you can do that. But if you focus and your only goal in life is to get more money in your bank account, other parts of your life will suffer. You might not have great relationships. You might be sick because you're working all the time. You might not be well balanced, and you might not take care of yourself and your friends, etc. So you can definitely optimize. But scaling is not just sales. It's not just getting to 6 figures or 7 figures or whatever number it is. It's putting more money in your pocket. And the other thing is there's definitely a concept of more. But if I had to describe it, I would probably say scaling is about figuring out what you're going after and then being strategic about it. So if you want more money in the bank, but at the same time, again, you hit on it as well, I'd rather get a bigger return on my time. Then I want to grow my business strategically. How's that?
Yeah, so let us know. I want to know right now. Put a comment down below. Pause this video and let us know what's your definition of scaling, of scale. And I bet you there's going to be hundreds of different ones, which is cool.
Can you side note, can you imagine like actually writing all the dictionary definitions out, having that role?
I got to go for lunch right now.
Yeah, we could spend like an hour right now just like, for me, if I had to say scale, I would say strategic growth centered around a single topic. I don't know. We should look it up. I don't know what the dictionary definition of growth is, or scaling is.
So I'm sure there's somebody out there right now, and you've clicked on this video because you want to learn how to scan books, how to scale your Amazon business, specifically your book business. So let's kind of dive into it. Is it okay if we dive into like the different parts? And I feel like it's broken up into at least 2: sourcing, and then we were talking about like hiring and stuff. But I know there's other parts.
Yeah, let's go one step higher actually first, then we'll dive into the weeds. You got to figure out in your business, are you looking to, are you trying to make the biggest return on your time, and are you opposed to hiring people? Or do you want to build a team and figure out ways to outsource? Because there's pros and cons either way, and either way scaling applies. So if you've decided, I don't like people, I'm not good with them, I don't know how to pay them, I don't have a lot of money. Oh, managing people is very, very difficult.
Scaling with employees isn't the funnest thing you would imagine.
No, and we talked about this yesterday too. Scaling people think, oh, if I outsource and hire someone, it makes, like, I can just stop working, I can go golfing all the time. If you're ever in Denver, look me up, we'll go golfing. But it's not what it is. Scaling and outsourcing actually just magnifies the weaknesses that are in your systems.
Yeah, I think Tim Ferriss talked about that. You know, everyone thinks that it's going to solve your problem, but it's just going to magnify either a good or a bad system or an output or whatever.
So if you want to scale, you've got to figure out, okay, is it just going to be you, or you and your wife, you and your husband, whatever it is? Are you just going to try and scale your business just within that confines? If so, then you've got to figure out how to work smarter, not harder. Because you can, if you say, hey, I need to make 50 grand a year selling books, you can do it, but it might not be healthy. You might be working 15-hour days, staying up late. So if you're going to scale and it's just you, your keyword is going to be efficiency. Okay? So you have to do everything as quickly as possible. So if you have a box of books and you're able to, if it takes you an hour to list one box of books, you're going to be able to scale better if you can invest in software, work on your processes, and figure out how to list that same box of books in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because now you get through more books in less time, or more books in the same amount of time, which allows you to make more money for less time.
Yeah, so what I would recommend doing is starting to write down all the things you're doing in a day or in a week in your business. And like you were saying, the one thing, start chipping away at one thing that you feel like you're wasting too much time doing. Maybe it's your workspace.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like, for example, you know, one thing that I did to become more efficient is I invested in an Exceller list. Because when I was listing my books through the Amazon platform, it wasn't very efficient. So I literally sped up my listing process like probably over 100%.
Yeah, and if you want to, one of the best ways to do it, it's very simple. Get a whiteboard, put it on your computer. I'm an old school guy, I love whiteboards. Literally time yourself. Get a stopwatch, trying to avoid distractions. Have a pile of books and go ahead and list. I know you do one box at a time, same as me. Go ahead and list books. Time yourself for 1 hour. Don't do 5-minute increments, it's too variable. Give yourself an hour and see how many books you can get through the entire process. Let's say it's 40. Write down 40 on the board. That's your new target.
Yeah.
And as you go and as you work on it, don't get too stuck in the weeds, but just see if you can bump that up. Because I guarantee you, with a little bit of effort, a little bit of thought, talk to other sellers, network, you can bump that up 50, 60, 70. That means now you're doing more with less. That's going to help you scale your business and go find more books.
Yeah. Another big thing as well, and I kind of touched on it before, let's dive into it, is sourcing. You can become much more efficient if you get into the correct or the appropriate sourcing method. Like for example, you're thrifting or hitting garage sales, you might go out for 5 or 6 hours and bring back 50 or 100 books. Whereas if we actually did a video on this, I'll post it right up here somewhere, but we talked about like 11 or 12 methods from liquidation to Gaylord sourcing to dealing with publishers. What else were we talking? We were talking about
We talked about using social media to go get books, doing book pickups. We didn't even talk about book drives. You could have people organize a book drive for you.
But getting books to come to you in large amounts.
Totally. You can buy them in bulk. You can buy by the Gaylord. We keep throwing the fishing analogy out there, but there's a lot of similarities. So let's say you and I go fishing, and let's say I have a rowboat and just one fishing pole, and that's it. So I go out on a lake, and I might be really knowledgeable and really smart, but it's going to take me minutes, maybe hours to paddle to the correct location. Versus Steve goes out there, and you've got a speedboat, or actually a fishing boat, really geared for it with a nice trolling motor, all the equipment. You can throw 3 or 4 rods in the water. You're going to outfish me.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Now maybe if I'm really talented, maybe I can still get you. But if you're going to be like trying to scale your business, you've got to go where the books are. You've got to invest in the proper equipment, because me trying to keep up with you in a rowboat is just not going to happen. It doesn't matter how smart of a fisherman I am.
It's like those guys and gals out there who are, been doing books for 20, 30 years. I had a guy who, this was like 2 years ago, Caleb, and he was like crapping on me. Like he was giving me a hard time for using the scanner. He's like, you're cheating, you shouldn't be doing that.
You should know all the books offhand.
And I made a video about this. For anyone who's been a Raiken Profit follower for years, you've probably seen it, but I made a video asking you guys, what are your thoughts on that? And it's like, you're either gonna adapt or die. I'm not trying to be brutal, but it's the marketplace doesn't care anymore.
It doesn't. And have you ever actually gone into a sale where they don't allow scanners?
I haven't.
So I tried that once.
I've heard they do.
A lot of times for the preview sale, they don't allow it because they don't want to get the members.
Is a preview sale, do you just preview it, or are you allowed to buy?
You can usually buy.
Oh, okay.
It's not like an auction where you can't look.
It's such a stupid question.
You usually pay a fee, or it's for friends of the library, and you can go on in. But I've been to sales where we didn't do our homework and call ahead, or maybe it said you could scan, and it turns out you couldn't. But if you ever tried to scout blindly, even though I have a pretty good experience with books, I still buy so many duds. So again, use the right tools. That's going to help you. And so again, if it's just you, your keyword is efficiency. Can you find better sources, more sources, and can you find ways to be efficient and list books quickly? And if so, then you're going to be able to scale your business more effectively.
So break down the elements of your business, because we made another video before where we broke down sourcing, we broke down listing, we broke down shipping. So you've got to break down, each one is like a pillar in a sense, and you can make each pillar stronger, right?
Yeah.
And more efficient. So that's definitely one side of the things, is that self-efficiency. And then the second part is then going to be hiring a team or building a team to make you guys more efficient as a whole, or be able to, I guess, how would you say it, to be able to produce more?
Yeah, so again, if we're going fishing, go back to that analogy. If it's just me and my rowboat, I've got one line in the water, I'm going to catch, my capacity is somewhat limited, right? Versus Steve, let's say he's got a great boat, he's got 8 friends coming with him. More lines in the water means a higher chance of fish. Now, he still has to go to the right sources, the right locations, right? You could have the best bookseller in the world going to a garage sale that's been picked over by lots of other sellers, and they're not going to walk out with much. So go where the books are, right? Get the right sources, but build a team. And so a lot of people go, yeah, I want to hire a team, but do I do independent contractor? Can I do a W-2? Is it a 1099? What about the tax rules? Like, and you can just like panic, and there's so many things to think about. So we won't get into the tax implications. Talk to a CPA, talk to a tax person about that. But how do you start bringing more people into the equation? Because if you go to a library sale just you might walk away with a book a minute, 50 books an hour, 60 books an hour. If you bring 2 or 3 or 4 people, it's just the odds of, the law of numbers. You're going to get more books. So where do you start hiring people? I would recommend first, have you hired anybody?
So I've had people, like, I've hired mostly virtual assistants, but I've hired 3 people in the past, and they were all friends locally.
Okay, and what did you have them do? Go with you to the sale?
So I hired them for my eBay business. I've never hired anybody for my Amazon business, just because with Amazon, I've got people working for me at the warehouse doing everything. So like I'm not a huge seller, right? Like on Amazon. So like I could pretty much handle all of it. But if I want to take it to the next level, I would definitely look into it for sure. But I started with friends.
Yeah, that's a great way to start. Make sure you pay them well. If you want to see the worst sides of human nature come out, have someone do a job and then don't pay them right away. Do not touch someone's pocketbook, their wallet, their purse, however you store your money,
or their
mattress.
food. I worked at the Cracker Barrel. Don't mess with someone's food.
Food and money, good things. Stay away. So all right, you want to start scaling. How do you bring people in? I've actually got a number of ways that we've done it, and I've talked to lots of people as well. Probably the best way to do it, because again, the fear is it's not that hard to sell books. I've got a smartphone, I've got some apps, I can figure out Amazon. Like, it's not that hard. Anybody can be my competition. So I want to scale, I want to hire somebody, but what if they steal the business? What if they go and compete with me? Well, join the club. Denver's got 100 to 200 people that are flipping books at least. There's probably more, just in one little area. So me training one more person isn't going to kill the market. It might hurt my local thrift store, but it's not going to kill the whole market. So one, you've just got to get rid of that fear. Can it happen? Sure, but any of you watching this video could be my competition tomorrow.
You don't have to train them in every part of your business as well. You keep them specialized in certain areas.
Yep, you can. So you can limit the data. If you're nervous about that, the first place I would hire somebody is hire them to list. So you're not going to teach them the sourcing. You're not going to teach them where you're going. You can keep that all a secret. So essentially, you're going to go and find the fish. They're going to clean them. So break up the processes. Sourcing is the most important. Again, listing it's a necessary evil. You have to do it. But you can't turn a $10 book into a $50 book.
Right.
It's might turn into a $15 book if you price it perfectly.
Yeah.
But a $10 book is a $10 book. It just has to get listed. So teach someone how to list. And for payment, I love to incentivize people. If they work harder, they make more money. So I don't love to do an hourly wage. I like to do a per book fee. And the benefit of that is a couple things. One, we hire a lot of stay-at-home moms, and I didn't really have I didn't disrespect stay-at-home moms, but I didn't understand the effort that it takes to raise a little guy. And so my wife, what do they say in the South, bless her heart, she does not get hardly a minute to herself during the day. She's chasing our 15-month-old around. He's a lot of energy. He's awesome. But she gets about an hour and a half where he's napping, and she's got to try and keep the household in order, and then when he goes to bed at night. So what the problem is, if I'm paying her $10 an hour, $12, $15 an hour to list books, she's going to be chasing little guy around. She's going to be distracted by phone calls, TV, whatever it may be. So I do per book. Super simple. Hey, here's 100 books. When you get them listed, I'm going to pay you 50 cents a book, $1 a book, whatever it might be. and especially if you have systems down, they can do 15
like
an
that.
hour. So
Yeah.
pay them by the book. Then you're not tracking hours. You're not worried about if they're slacking off on the job, if they're answering phone calls at work. Who cares? Once they list 100 books, pay them their set amount, give them the next 100 books. So that's a really good way to do it. And they're not going to go steal your business because they don't know where they're coming from.
Great tip.
So outside of that, so again, I like to outsource listing first. That's the safest. 2, let them, if they want to work harder, let them earn more money. So do like a piecemeal or per book rate. And then if you want to start getting sourcers, this is where it gets fun, because sourcing, it's not just your city, or if you have a day job, right, you're not going to have a lot of time during the day to go get books. So how do you get people to work for you? Well, if you're nervous about the data, we'll give a shameless plug, but
You guys are going to love this right here.
ScoutIQ, we can actually hide the data. So instead of showing all the prices on the app and all the sales rank and all that, it literally just turns green or red and says accept or reject. So the idea is if you want to hire scouts, and that's what we had done before. We actually had, at one point, we had 15 scouts in 12 different states.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's how we tried to scale our business originally. So as my wife and I, we were doing the 100 book challenge, then 200 books a week, then 300 books a week. And at some point you run out of books,
Were they shipping
you run
to
out of
you,
time.
all the books?
We actually trained them the whole business. So they would scout. We weren't using hidden mode because we couldn't go to their phones and physically change everything. We
You
just
didn't have
taught
hidden
them.
mode at the time?
We taught them to read the data,
Oh, wow.
right? So they would read the data, make decisions, and then they were listing the books into our account. So we provided the tools, we paid for the software, gave them a scanner, gave them all the training, and people go, well, wait, you just taught them the whole business. And we took a small commission when they sold. They actually made more money than we did,
Yeah.
kind of like a franchise model. And we never had anybody quit and do their own business. People that have, and nothing against them, we had some awesome scouts that worked for us. But if you have an employee mindset, it's just like that's your mindset. And I used to think that everybody thinks the way I do. Everybody's an entrepreneur. They're always thinking, what can I buy and flip
We're
and
risky.
resell?
We put money up front with no guarantees.
Sure. And I thought that's just what everybody did. And I quickly realized, no, we're pretty much in the minority.
We're crazy, yeah.
Yeah, crazy is a good way to put it. So we had them run the whole business, but with hidden mode, you can hide it. They don't know what they're.
They can't change it off to.
Nope, you
right?
control it all on the computer. You can push it remotely. You can change their triggers, their rules, their logic.
So if you have one ScoutIQ account like I do, how many people could I have under my account?
So you can just get yourself.
Yeah.
You can share the subscription, but if 2 people log in at the same time, it starts kicking them out.
Okay.
So if you want to add what we call them child accounts,
yeah.
No offense to parents or children, but we call them child accounts.
Yeah.
So you're the parent, they're the children. You
Yeah.
actually get a pretty good discount.
So say I had 10 scouters that I wanted to work for me right now. I could have my one ScoutIQ account and then 10 child accounts under it?
Yep. And each child account is month to month. It's a significantly cheaper
Okay.
rate as well.
And they could all log in at the same time, so all 11 of us could be
You
logged
would
in?
give every child account, so you'd set up one child account for Tim and one for Rachel and one for Sally.
With their own login and password?
Yep, so they get a username. You don't have to have an email address, and you can change those. So if Tim quits after 2 months, you could actually take Tim and just change the username to Billy and go give that subscription
And
to
I
Billy.
could set all the triggers and rules and what they're allowed to see and click on and off of in each one of those accounts. So if I only want them to see yes or no and buy under a certain criteria,
Yep.
I'd set it for all 10 of them, and then we could all be sourcing at the same time, essentially.
So Michael, we
Jeez,
did
that's
an interview.
insane.
He went to a library sale, and he actually brought, we call it the old person test, but he brought an older gentleman to the sale with him.
Yeah.
He never scouted books before, got him set up with a scanner, and literally set up the app just to turn green or red.
Wow, you know,
And he was able to get more books. I think he paid the guy $15 an hour, $20 an hour,
oh my.
and was able to go in. And a guy that had never scouted before was able to pull several books.
That was
out
the
of
biggest
sale.
thing holding me back from that thought, because I've had this thought like multiple times, and I'm like, how am I going to train somebody to do like what took me so long to understand? Like, you guys understand what I'm talking about, like understanding rank and the number of sellers and this issue and that issue. We go on and on. That's hard, but that's cool. I didn't mean to like turn this into a whole ScoutIQ thing, but I'm curious. I didn't even know.
And if I had to start my business again today and try and scale it up, that's what I would do. I would go to library sales. I'd build a team of probably friends, people from church, etc. So I'd build a team of 5 or 6 people. We're rocking the minivan now. So we'd take the minivan, we'd drive to any sale within several hour radius of Denver, and I'd bring my team with me, and I'd pay them like an hourly rate and maybe give them buying pizza or something.
Well, why not? Because you were just talking about listing and getting people to take action and work harder based on an incentive.
Sure.
Why not? Because I was just thinking in my head, why not just pay per book? Because you get them to work harder.
You could do that as well, or give them a bonus at the end.
So what's your reason for wanting to go with the hourly, like your first response?
That's just, it's more straightforward. Plus, I'd pay them for like the drive time. If we drove 2 hours to a sale down the road, for example,
Yeah.
like they can't drive any better, they can't ride any better, so I'm not going to incentivize them for that. I just pay them a flat rate.
Okay.
But if you could, for sure, say, hey, any book that turns green, I'll pay you. Typically, when we go to sales, we're pulling a book a minute. So you're, again, 50 to 60 books in an hour. And so a slower scout might only get 20 or 30. So you could pay him, I don't know, 20 cents a book at 50 would be $10 an hour. Pay him 40 cents a book, 50 cents a book bonus.
Let me ask you a question. Say I built a connection with like a library, or recently I posted a picture on my Instagram at Raiken Profit where I was like doing some stupid selfie and I had like 1 million books behind me. I built a connection with a local reseller, and he has certain books that he just won't send into Amazon. Like if it has a scratch or if it has an issue, he just won't sell it. But these books, some of them have $4, $8, $12 profit left on the bone, and he's just doing whatever he's doing. I don't know if he's like donating them or what. But I was trying to work out a way for him to, instead of me going and having to scan all of his duds and figure out the ones that are good, could I set him up under a child account under
Absolutely.
my ScoutIQ, and then, because I don't want him seeing that it's like $50 or $30, because I don't want him like figuring it out and putting it aside.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
could
That's
set
exactly what it's for.
Wow, that's crazy.
Now, if you're going to do
This
that,
is like 100% organic right now, just so you guys know. Like,
if you're going to do that, though, I'd actually, like, so what are you paying him now? Do you mind me asking?
$1 per book.
$1 a book. So I would say, hey, whatever his name is, if you're willing to scan the books for me, I'll give you the app so you can
He
just
said
give
he
him a
will.
login.
He already did.
I would actually
my
pay him
solution right now was anything that's got a use by box of like $12 or more put aside for me.
Yeah, make it even simpler.
Yeah.
Just make it binary, yes or no. Do you want the book or not?
Wow.
And I would actually incentivize him a little bit more, so maybe $1.25, $1.50, and then set your triggers up a little higher, set your profit just
Yeah.
a hair higher.
Yeah.
Because if he's doing the work, you want to make sure it's worth it for him. Otherwise,
And I was thinking that too, because he actually was telling me he had a relationship. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's actually websites out there that'll buy your book back, buy your books back, or even like local places.
yeah,
you can drop-
bookscouter.com.
Yeah. So like they're already getting $1 per good book. So like I was thinking to myself, what's my incentive?
Exactly.
So that's a good idea, but that's another great way. This like turned into some cool like book strategy way to scale. But yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, so again, if it's just you, efficiency. If it's not just you, you want to hire people, it's about setting up systems and figuring out how to outsource and bring people in to do different pieces of the business.
Cool. Caleb, appreciate it. Hopefully
Yeah.
you guys enjoyed this kind of scatterbrained organic video. We really tried to kind of break down the multiple ways that you can scale and define what it is. So if you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys aren't already following Caleb, you can check him out on Facebook, on his blog, on YouTube at
thebookflipper.com and at the Book Flipper and the Book Flipper community on YouTube, and we're gonna go get some food.
We're gonna get some food. So if you guys want to check out ScoutIQ, I'll put a link down below, a special little 14-day trial that you guys can check out. So feel free to play around with it and have some fun on the house and see if you like it. But with that being said, keep on picking and making that money, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.